So what you were saying is
Yeah.
it's kind of a seesaw, a teeter-totter of technical proficiency versus vibe when it comes to recording in this specific instance.
If we're talking about recording,
Which we are.
the way I see it is you have to take it. I know we don't like to talk about music in terms of like math and technical stuff,
But it's all about that, isn't it?
If you look at the whole situation.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a singer. Let's say you have a singer who is technically capable of technical, like near perfection. We're talking
like Paul Rogers, maybe. Or
Paul
something.
Rogers, Harry Nilsson, Celine Dion, this kind of thing. Now they're in the room singing with the band, having fun, right? Having good time.
Good times.
Such a good time laughing with the guys and the people that it's maybe not a perfect take because they're drinking a beer, they're singing, there's bleed, and you're like, well, we've got Rogers in here.
Yeah.
So we know I'm the producer. We want to get him in the vocal booth after to overdub this vocal because we know it's $1 million fucking vocal, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to get there. But let's say you got Bob Dylan.
Right.
Bob's in the room with the band playing and singing. You get him in that vocal booth after, probably you're not
you're going to get that kind of Stevie Wonder, Bob Dylan moment in We Are the World.
It might
freak him out.
You'll either freak him out or the most you're going to get is like 5% better performance out of him. And probably what you'll gain, what you're subtracting in terms of vibe loss.
Versus.
Now he's not playing a guitar.
Yeah.
So rhythmically, he's off or something. So like,
also he's in the pressure zone.
Exactly. You know, a Neil, a Dylan, you probably want them out there. If it's a vibe singer feel, you probably want them in the room with the band singing it because you're not going to get like even a Tom Waits, a Dr. John, this kind of thing, like.
Yeah, and then I guess also with regards to this, it's like, it's about commitment because you're committing to a vibe. The more you overdub, the less you're committing to a vibe. And like people, if you know you're a vibe guy,
exactly,
stay doing the vibe stuff like Neil or Dylan.
Exactly.
If you're trying to chart, maybe not a great idea.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's big to consider.
Yeah,
it is because it's almost certain you'll be less successful with the vibe approach. I mean, these guys are successful, but that's a different time, a different place.
And also, very few people do the vibe approach.
No.
You know, Stapleton does.
Stapleton does.
Yeah. Well, I think you probably see it a bit more in Nashville country.
Probably Nathaniel.
Yeah.
I know he'll track vocals
He's
live.
capable.
He'll do it live.
Yeah, he'll
I
do
mean,
it.
I think it's less that people just don't try. I think they're scared or they're told not to.
Or or you're thinking subconsciously, even if you're trying not to, that it's going to have a cumulatively negative effect as opposed to a positive effect.
Exactly.
If you were, for example, to take a kind of mentality shift and in a upside down world, it was like your records will sell more if you get good at singing in the room with people, then people would probably just be like, why would I sing it afterwards? That's ridiculous.
I mean, but it may be
It might be true.
Like, it might be true that vibe. Look at a band like the Grateful Dead or like that. Why do people respond to that?
Dude, I've got one word for you.
What?
Bono.
Yeah. Yeah, but why do people respond to that music? Because it's spontaneous. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yes. There's an element.
But people don't like their albums, do they?
Well, no, but I think it's also about then accepting too and understanding that you're in the what's the word? Like the subculture. You're making music for, Dylan, Neil, whatever. Those guys are outliers.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, if you're going to make a record that sounds like Big Pink, people are going to fucking vibe on it. But you're not going to have a Richard Perry style smash.
No, you're not.
It's not even going to get played on Spotify.
No, it might be like people like, hey, have you heard that? It's fucking cool.
There's a few bands that do it and get like that. I mean, I guess it's like there's loaded terms. Like what are the words? Loaded.
Maybe that kind of that one's actually kind of overdubbed.
It feels overdubbed.
Yeah, but the third album, maybe not.
White Light, White Heat.
That's
as well.
not
overdubbed.
No. But I mean, it's art, right?
Yeah.
You got to think about, you can't think about the record sales or the...
But you do. I mean, everyone does.
Maybe,
right?
but
or they listen to music. The thing is, we're so deep down this now.
Yeah.
That we listen to music for the last 40 years. This has been the standard.
I know, but now with AI and everything, I'm saying maybe this is time to let the vibe take the front seat.
Do you think things sound more out of tune now than they used to sound out of tune?
Because you're trying to get it in tune.
Yeah, too much.
As soon as you try to tune, you hear when something's out.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's true. When everything, then you're like, wait, was that weird? But the Stones, I've never even thought about tuning on a Rolling Stones record because it's so out, probably. Yeah. Why would you think about it?
Also, it's funny too because in terms of we're talking about in terms of vibe.
Yeah.
Like everyone wants to sound like Zuma.
Yeah.
But no one actually wants to sound like Zuma.
I think they do. I just don't think they're like ready for.
I'm not ready
to do it.
I'm not ready.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to sound like that. If I made a record that sounded like Zuma, I feel in my mind I'd be like, this sounds like I'm in high school.
I know.
Which is really tricky.
I know.
It's a tricky feeling.
I want to try, but maybe in the right... I think I might want to try it in a controlled environment. It's like my own house.
Right.
Where like it doesn't matter if it's shit. Because then I'll be like, well, just won't release it,
Right.
But like, I think in a situation, it's... But the
place to try it is the studio environment. The room sounds good.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the place to
try.
I'm
trying to say.
Just risk it all.
Yeah.
Just leave it all out there and you just go in.
I think I want to risk it all. But I definitely want to risk it all, actually.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But the thing about vibe is...
I need to know.
It's not always audible. It's felt, right? So it's like...
Interesting.
If you're in the room singing, let's say
true, dude.
The singer looks over at the bass player... And he's about to sing a line, and the bass player kind of does something that makes him chuckle.
Maybe like slaps or
might
pops.
Or gives him a little smile, or like takes a drink of his beer between hitting a note.
Right. Hitting the bong.
You might not even hear that laugh or smile,
right.
but it's in
it's
there.
It's felt.
It's in there. It's felt. I believe it. I hear it in music all the time.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting so far away from that, where we're like in a booth, they're like, do another take, and you're like, okay, I know the lyrics, and I'm just singing them over and over and over again.
And now you're in that mood where you're like, am I phrasing this consonant right?
Exactly. How's my breathing?
Can we use D-breath
Are
on
the
this?
breaths too loud?
Yeah, you're sounding a little bit like, have a glass of water.
I know.
That shit.
People in your
ears,
head,
in your
talking
head. They're
to
in
you,
your head.
and you're alone, and you're
alone. You can't see when it's dark in there. And they've said to you as well, like, how can we make the vibe good for you in here? It's like you're making.
I had it good.
It was
when
good.
I was jamming with the band,
and then the vibe comes back, and you're talking about how to make it good, but you're basically in the dentist's chair.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. If you're a vibe singer, and that's hell. Where you're like, now I'm being listened. I'm on a stage alone, being judged by a group of people.
But also, my vocal
room.
isn't being judged. I'm being judged on my technical ability.
Of course, which you probably are like a 5 or 6.
Max.
If you're a vibe singer,
max.
Yeah, like so it's like
so what? Okay, so then you have to set up.
Yeah,
thinking about this early on, really be loose on tuning just across the board.
Yeah,
because you don't want a tuned-up band with a rough vocal.
Yeah, probably
not.
You
kind of need everything to be a little bit.
Yeah. Definitely you want like the drum sound, what we were talking about, like not that super slick. You don't want Steely Dan drum sound with
on a vibe.
On a loose vocal vibe.
Yeah. He's good at faking vibe, isn't he? He's talking.
Fagin?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is kind of good at that, but I think that's kind of their
I don't
thing.
think they make any sense.
You can't even try to do that.
No.
Because he's a non-singer who is playing over like the techiest shit ever.
Yeah.
You can't really...
So maybe that's so technical that Vibe comes back around the corner.
I think so. And like his lyrics are full Vibe.
And if he was to sing technically, it'd sound like AI.
100%.
It would be demented.
Robotic.
Yeah.
And also the lyrics are so non-pop.
Yeah.
Like they're like demented. There's like no love songs.
No.
There's no, So I think he compensates there.
Right.
With his words.
So really it's just you've got to get a kind of balance.
You figure out your own balance and stick, like you said, commit culture.
It is commit culture.